Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 4 Reddit stories for you. Reddit drama that'll make you question family loyalty. Story 1. My mother kicked me out for my unemployed 34-year-old sister. So my mother just kicked me out of the house to make room for my unemployed 34-year-old sister, and I'm starting to think I'm living in some kind of twisted family drama. Here's the situation. I'm 26, I have a job, I pay my bills, and my mom specifically invited me to move into this house a while back. Everything was going fine until last week when she drops this bomb on me. She tells me I have to pack up and leave because she wants to move to the back house, and guess who's getting my spot? My sister. My 34-year-old sister who just lost her job and lived with my parents until she was 33. Yeah, you heard that right. She only moved out for the first time last year, and now that she's unemployed again, mommy's rolling out the red carpet. But here's where it gets really good. My mother's excuse for kicking me out is that I have a job, so I can afford to find somewhere else to live. Meanwhile, my sister gets handed everything on a silver platter because she's, quote-unquote, going through a tough time. I couldn't help but point out the hypocrisy here. I mean, isn't it a little backwards to kick out the responsible child who's actually contributing to society to make room for the one who can't seem to get their life together? When I brought this up, my mom completely lost it. She started yelling about how I'm being selfish and unsympathetic to my sister's situation. Selfish? I'm the one being selfish. I've been nothing but responsible my entire adult life while my sister has been living like a teenager well into her 30s. The thing that really gets me is the pattern here. This isn't the first time my sister has gotten special treatment because she can't handle basic adult responsibilities. Growing up, she always got more lenient rules, more financial support, and apparently now she gets my room too. I tried to explain to my mom that maybe constantly bailing my sister out isn't actually helping her learn to be independent, but that just made things worse. She accused me of being jealous and bitter, which honestly, maybe I am a little bitter. Wouldn't you be? It's frustrating watching someone get rewarded for their failures while you get punished for your success. The worst part is that my sister acts like she deserves this. She's not even a little apologetic about displacing me. She actually had the nerve to ask if I could help her move her stuff in before I move out. The audacity is just mind-blowing. My friends think I should just cut my losses and find my own place, which I probably will, but part of me feels like I shouldn't have to be the one to leave. I was invited here, I've been a good tenant, and I haven't done anything wrong except have the misfortune of being the responsible sibling. So now I'm apartment hunting while my unemployed sister gets to slide into my spot without paying a dime. And my mother wonders why I called out her hypocrisy. Am I wrong for thinking this whole situation is completely backwards? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. I called my stepmom a bitch after years of passive-aggressive torture. So I finally snapped and called my stepmom a bitch, and honestly, it's been years in the making. I'm 18 now, and this woman has been making my life miserable with her passive-aggressive comments basically my entire childhood. We're talking about years of subtle digs and snarky remarks that are just innocent enough that she can play the victim when called out. The worst part? My dad always takes her side and tells me I'm reading too much into things or being overly sensitive. It's like living in this constant state of gaslighting where I know she's being deliberately mean, but everyone acts like I'm the problem. Her comments are always perfectly crafted to sound harmless to anyone else listening, but they cut deep. Things like, "Oh, you're wearing that?" Or commenting on how much I eat, or making little remarks about my friends or my interests. Always with this sweet tone that makes it sound like concern when it's really just criticism designed to make me feel small. The breaking point came last week during what should have been a normal family dinner. I was talking about getting into college, which should be a happy moment, right? But she just had to make one of her comments. She said something like, "Well, I just hope you're ready for the real world because college isn't like high school where teachers hold your hand." Again, sounds like normal advice, but the way she said it, with that condescending tone and that little smirk, I knew exactly what she meant. She was implying that I'm not capable of handling college-level work. This came right after she'd spent the entire dinner making little comments about everything from how I was sitting to how I was eating my food. I'd had enough. All those years of biting my tongue and trying to be the bigger person just evaporated. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You know what? You're being a bitch, and you have been for years." The silence that followed was deafening. My dad immediately went into damage control mode, telling me I was out of line and demanding I apologize. But here's the thing, I wasn't sorry. Not even a little bit. Finally saying what I'd been thinking for years felt incredibly liberating. Of course, she started crying and playing the victim, talking about how she's tried so hard to be a good stepmother and how hurt she was by my words. My dad completely bought it and grounded me for being disrespectful and cruel. But where was his concern when she was being disrespectful and cruel to me for years? The double standard is just incredible. Now everyone's acting like I'm this terrible person who attacked poor innocent stepmom out of nowhere. But it wasn't out of nowhere. It was the result of years of systematic emotional abuse disguised as concern or helpful suggestions. The thing is, I don't regret it. For the first time in years, I felt like I stood up for myself instead of just taking her crap. But now I'm dealing with the fallout, and my dad is more disappointed in me than I've ever seen him. Part of me wonders if I should have handled it differently, maybe found a more mature way to address the situation. But honestly, I tried talking to my dad about her behavior before, and he never believed me. What else was I supposed to do? Just keep taking it until I moved out? Am I wrong for finally fighting back, even if my language was harsh? Story 3. My roommate's furious because I cooked onions near her laundry. So apparently I'm some kind of monster because I cooked dinner with onions while my roommate's clean laundry was sitting in our common area, and now she's acting like I personally attacked her wardrobe. I still can't believe this is even a real conflict, but here we are. I live in one of those apartment-style dorms with an open-concept kitchen and living area, and I share the space with 2 other girls. When I got home around 4 in the afternoon, I noticed one of my roommates had been folding laundry in the common room, but she wasn't there anymore. The clothes were just sitting there on the couch, neatly folded but not put away. Fast forward to 6 o'clock, and I'm getting hungry. The laundry's still there, still in the same spot, and my roommate is nowhere to be seen. Now, I'm leaving for spring break on Wednesday, so my groceries are pretty sparse. I'm basically down to some frozen French fries and random pantry items. I decided to make the best of what I had, so I diced up the fries to make them more interesting and started cooking them with some onions I had lying around. Nothing fancy, just trying to make a decent meal with what I had available. I'm about 10 minutes into cooking when my roommate comes storming into the kitchen like I just committed some heinous crime. She starts yelling at me about how I'm cooking with onions near her clean clothes and how the smell is going to get into her laundry. I was honestly confused at first because I didn't realize this was even something people worried about. The clothes are folded and sitting on the couch, which isn't even directly next to the stove. The kitchen has decent ventilation, and it's not like I was hotboxing the place with onion fumes. I tried to explain that I didn't think it would be a problem since the clothes weren't right next to where I was cooking, but she was having none of it. She demanded that I stop cooking immediately and accused me of being inconsiderate for not asking her permission first. Permission to cook dinner in my own kitchen? That seemed a bit extreme to me. Then she hits me with this argument about how she pays rent too and has just as much right to use the common space for her laundry as I do to cook. Which, okay, fair point about paying rent, but here's the thing, the laundry had been sitting there for over 2 hours. If she was so concerned about the clothes, why not just put them away in her room? I suggested this, and she got even more angry, saying I was trying to tell her how to do her laundry and that she should be able to leave her clean clothes wherever she wants without worrying about roommates contaminating them with cooking smells. The whole situation just kept escalating from there. She started bringing up other random grievances, like how I sometimes leave dishes in the sink overnight and how I play music too loud sometimes. It felt like she was just using the onion incident as an excuse to air every complaint she'd been holding on to. What really gets me is that we're talking about onions here, not something actually offensive like fish or strong spices. It's just regular yellow onions that most people cook with regularly. And it's not like the smell lingers for hours or anything. The whole argument lasted longer than my actual cooking time. Now she's giving me the silent treatment and apparently told our other roommate that I'm inconsiderate and don't respect shared spaces. But from my perspective, I was just trying to make dinner in the kitchen, which is literally what kitchens are for. Am I missing something here, or is this just completely unreasonable? Story 4. My best friend chose my abusive ex over me. So my best friend is still hanging out with my abusive ex-boyfriend, and I'm starting to question everything I thought I knew about loyalty and friendship. This whole situation has me feeling like I'm losing my mind, and I don't know if I'm being unreasonable or if my friend is just completely clueless about how much this hurts. I broke up with my ex about 6 months ago, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it was a really bad relationship. This guy was incredibly controlling and jealous about my friendships. Every time I wanted to hang out with friends, it turned into this massive ordeal. He'd either get angry and start a fight, or he'd guilt-trip me until I felt terrible for even wanting to see other people. Sometimes he'd just make it so exhausting and dramatic that I'd end up canceling my plans just to avoid the conflict. And don't even get me started on the sexual pressure. If I didn't want to sleep with him, he'd get so angry and make me feel like I was being unreasonable or like there was something wrong with me. After a while, I just stopped seeing people as much because dealing with his reactions wasn't worth it. I felt really isolated and trapped, and it took me way too long to realize how unhealthy the whole situation was. When I finally worked up the courage to leave him, it felt like I was getting my life back. I started reconnecting with friends, including my best friend who I'd barely seen during the relationship because my ex made it so difficult. I thought she understood what I'd been through because I'd opened up to her about some of the stuff that happened. She seemed supportive at the time and said all the right things about how I deserved better and how glad she was that I got out. But apparently, that support only went so far because she's still friends with him. Not only is she still friends with him, but they hang out regularly, and she posts pictures with him on social media like nothing happened. When I first saw the photos, I thought maybe it was just a coincidence, like they ran into each other somewhere. But then I found out they've been hanging out consistently since we broke up. She never mentioned any of this to me, which makes it even worse. I felt like I had to find out through social media that my best friend was essentially choosing my abuser over me. When I confronted her about it, she got defensive and said that her friendship with him has nothing to do with me and that she can be friends with whoever she wants. Technically, she's right, but it feels like such a betrayal. How can you claim to support someone who was in an abusive relationship and then turn around and maintain a friendship with the abuser? Her argument is that she's known him for a long time and that their friendship predates my relationship with him. She also said that she only hears my side of the story and that maybe the relationship issues were more complicated than I'm making them out to be. That really stung because it felt like she was questioning whether I was telling the truth about the abuse. The worst part is that I feel like I'm being forced to choose between speaking up for myself and maintaining this friendship. She's made it clear that she's not going to stop hanging out with him, and she seems annoyed that I even brought it up. But how am I supposed to pretend this doesn't bother me when seeing them together is a constant reminder of the worst period of my life? Am I wrong for expecting my best friend to have my back here? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.